In today's video, we are looking at the NGT Profiler Dome Bivvy system. And there's a reason why they call it the XL. Now it's hard to believe that that massive bivvy I showed you in the intro packs down to this small little package here. Now, I haven't actually opened this yet. You've already seen it. Very confusing, but that's how it works. So let's see what we actually get in the bag. Now, the first thing I've noticed is the bag's actually quite oversized, which is really handy. A lot of the time, you end up with a really tight bivvy bag and it's impossible to get packed away. With this one, there's a lot of room. Now, let's just open this up. So obviously you get a nice heavy duty ground sheet, and it's actually a decent quality one as well. A lot of them are very dodgy, aren't they? And they're a bit flimsy, but this is, yeah, this feels nice and hard wearing. It's not too thick that it's going to weigh a ton, but it's made with decent enough material that it's not going to have any sticks poking through it. Let's unravel this. Obviously you've got your main bivvy, you've got a few poles to give it the rigid structure. You've got your nice pegs, and then it looks like just a few different door options and things like that. So that's, yeah, pretty much what you get in the kit. You've got your tension straps and then the bivvy itself. And then all of this comes in at around 10 kilos, which is pretty surprising given the size of the actual bivvy. So let's chuck it up for the first time, see how easy it is to set up and how much room you've got inside as well. Okay, so the setup wasn't too bad. Obviously it is a massive unit of a bivvy. Ideally, if you've got someone to help you, then that would be great. And to be honest, if you're taking this fishing, you probably have got someone with you. First things first, you've basically got to fan everything out, just like you would do with any other pram hood style bivvy. And then the poles all obviously connect together. These have got anti-twist poles, so it makes it nice and easy. You haven't got fabric twisting around and making everything a lot harder. So once you've got everything in place, you end up with basically a massive kind of semicircle, and that is the main shape of the bivvy. Once you've done that, there are actually 3 different tension straps which coincide with the different ribs. So connect all them together, that's when you've got the main actual shape of the bivvy. When you've done that part, it's a case of extending everything out and then putting all the tension bars in place. It's easier working from back to front. So we put the rear one in first, peg that down in place, and then that gives you something that you can then pull everything forward from. Now it's worth mentioning that because it's such a big bivvy and you have got these these extra ribs, then it almost concertinas out. So it's not like a traditional pram hood where everything kind of comes off one point. This has actually got 2 points to then open out at. You'll find as well, when you move the peak out even further, there's almost like an upside down Y shape. So then that extends out that way as well. It all makes sense when you do it, and we'll show you a couple of clips. But overall, yeah, it's not the worst bivvy to put up, but like I say, if you've got a little bit of help, then that does go a long way. Well, obviously it is a massive bivvy. We've touched upon that already, but to actually put that into context, it is 300 by 315 centimeters. So it's over 3 by 3 meters, and it's 180 centimeters high. That's ridiculous. So obviously I can stand up in it. I can stand up in most bivvies, but I think even Curly could nearly stand up in this. So it's big, it's really big. But like I said, it packs down really small as well. So it actually packs down to 120 centimeters by 30 by 30. So it doesn't matter if you've got a smaller vehicle, it's still gonna fit in quite nicely, even in a boot without the seats down. I don't know how they've managed to do it. I guess it's by the amount of kind of folds and things like that. But that doesn't mean that it's not rigid when it's actually set up. This is a really strong rigid bivvy with easily enough room for 2 bed chairs side by side in it. If it's kind of dad and lad sort of situation or a couple of mates going on a longer trip, there's easily enough room for both of you inside. Now coming further outside, as you can see, there is a massive porch as well. So like I say, if you are doing them longer sessions and you don't quite know what the weather's going to do, then you've got that porch area. Not enough room to sit outside, but you can easily keep muddy boots outside and that sort of thing. So if you're using a ground sheet and you want to keep it nice and tidy inside, there is easily enough room to have your boots outside without them getting wet. It's probably actually about 2 foot, which is massive when it comes to a porch. Now I mentioned that it comes in at about 10 kilos, and that's thanks to the actual build up, the materials used. Basically the whole frame is aluminium, the tension bars that run through the frame are aluminium as well, and then the material is actually quite lightweight. It's a 5000mm hydrostatic head, which I think, to be honest, for this sort of situation is more than enough. Most of the time you're going to be using this over summer. You're not going to be doing such long sessions in the winter. Some of you will do, but the idea of this is more for, you know, nice social situations, which are normally done in better weather. But that said, 5,000mm is still more than enough to keep you dry, even if it is chucking it down as well. So obviously, like everything else about this bivvy, the door is massive, but this can be used in a couple of different ways. It can be used as a letterbox system, which is really handy. So with that massive porch that you've got on it, or that massive peak, and then using that as a letterbox system, you know that even if the rain is pretty much coming in sideways, you're going to be kept dry. Alongside using this as a letterbox system, it can also be used as a mozzie door as well. So you've got mozzie mesh behind the door, and then the vents both sides of the door are also mozzie mesh as well. So if you want to create that bit more airflow, then you can whip back the front, and you've got the mozzie mesh behind it just to get that air coming in. But that works in conjunction with vents at the back, which are, again, massive, but they've also got mozzie mesh behind as well. So you can really open up pretty much all the bivvy to really get a decent airflow through, which, like I say, for the idea of this shelter, that it's going to be for social sessions over summer, that sort of thing, you're going to need that airflow. So yeah, you're not going to cook inside it, which is really handy. So even though it is a lightweight material and it is that 5,000mm hydrostatic head, it's still pretty dark inside, so you haven't got to worry that first light 4 o'clock in the morning in summer you're going to get sun beaming in and, you know, you're awake from then. You can still have a bit of a lay-in if you want to. Opening it up now, it is dark inside, so it's a really nice point. Even though it's a lightweight material and is light to actually carry around, it's still quite nice and dark. So moving on to some of the finer details as well. Inside there's a couple of storage pockets which are really handy, just for putting things like your keys, your receiver, your phone, anything like that you don't necessarily want just laying around. Yeah, there's a couple of them as well. So like I say, if you are fishing with a friend or whoever you're fishing with, you've got 2 of them, so you can each have your own, so you've got all your little personal items in your own bit of storage. There's a hook in there as well, so it makes it nice and easy to hook on a bivvy light, because not going to lie, it's very tall. So if you're trying to get a magnet on top and try and magnet your bivvy light in place, you've got to be about 9'7". So having the hook inside makes it a lot easier. And of course, there's a couple of rod retaining straps as well, so when it comes to rebaiting your rod, you haven't got to worry about them slipping off. However, if you are using 9-footers, they're probably not ideal, because you're going to be wrapping it around the tip ring, so it's more suited to your traditional 12-foot rods. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a massive bivvy, which is going to be more than big enough for you and a mate, or you, if you like to take the kitchen sink, then this is probably the one for you. But I haven't told you the best part yet, and that is the price. Done a little bit of searching online. Recommended retail, they're due to be about £300, but you can actually find them for about 270. This is a hell of a lot of kit for that money, especially when you take into account the weight, the pack down size, and like I say, what you're getting for that money, it's hard to turn your nose up at. So thanks for watching this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.